First Vande Mataram, then Janagana Mana, then Tamil Thai Vazhthu, and then political outrage. Okay, I know what you're thinking. That just sounds like a completely normal schedule of events, right? But here's the thing about politics. Sometimes a simple sequence of songs can literally ignite a firestorm. Recently, at actor Joseph Vijay's swearing-in ceremony for his new political party, this exact playlist didn't just raise a few eyebrows, it caused a massive uproar across Tamil Nadu.
Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're walking the anthem tightrope. We are going to neutrally unpack how a seemingly basic logistical choice at a ceremonial event actually acts like a giant magnifying glass, revealing decades-old political fault lines. So, let's dive into the facts, the history, and the highly calculated political strategy going on behind the scenes.
Okay, let's get into it. Here's our quick roadmap for today. First, we'll look at the oath ceremony controversy itself. Then, the Battle of Anthems and the roots of Tamil politics. After that, we'll analyze Vijay's middle path strategy. And finally, wrap up with the road ahead.
Right. Let's start with part one, the oath ceremony controversy. In politics, every single logistical choice is basically a declaration of identity. So picture the scene at the TVK chief ceremony in Chennai. The music starts playing, and it follows this exact order. First up, Vande Mataram, the national song. Second, Janagana Mana, the national anthem. And finally, third, the Tamil Nadu state song. Now, to anyone outside the state, this probably looks totally standard. But in Tamil Nadu, this completely broke a massive, long-standing tradition where the state song is almost always played first at government functions.
And man, the reaction was instantaneous. Literally within hours, this sequence blew up into a full-blown controversy. Leaders from the ruling DMK party, Dravidian intellectuals, cultural activists, they all erupted in protest. For traditionalists, placing national symbols ahead of the state song wasn't just a breach of protocol, they saw it as a direct affront to Tamil regional identity. And in Dravidian politics, that regional identity is very often placed above national symbols.
Moving on to Section 2, the Battle of Anthems. Let's neutrally examine the deep emotional weight behind these specific songs.
Take the Tamil Thai Vazhthu, for example. Written by Manamanayam Sundaranar, this is absolutely not just a bureaucratic formality. It's the official state song, and it invokes Mother Tamil, actively glorifying Tamil culture, ancient civilization, heritage, and pride. So it's easy to see how in the state's political landscape, this song carries profound emotional resonance. It's a deeply sacred symbol of their unique identity.
Now compare that with Vande Mataram. For the rest of India, ever since it was written back in 1875, it's been this unifying symbol of patriotism and anti-colonial resistance. But within traditional Dravidian politics in Tamil Nadu, it's often viewed through a different lens. Some see it as representing centralized nationalism, North Indian dominance, or even Hindu majoritarianism. So playing it first triggered a very specific, historically charged backlash.
Which brings us to Section 3. The roots of Tamil politics. Because to understand today's outrage, we really have to rewind the clock.
While early language preservation movements started bubbling up in the 1930s and 40s, the absolute turning point was 1965. That year, the Union government planned to make Hindi the primary official language. This triggered massive, statewide protests led by students and activists, tragically resulting in several deaths. It was a violent turning point that permanently transformed the state's politics, leading directly to the total dominance of Dravidian parties, first the DMK and later the AIADMK from 1967 onward.
Now, what's really fascinating about this historical era is the psychology behind it. Those 1965 protests were fueled by a genuine fear of North Indian dominance in government jobs and a fierce resistance against cultural centralization. It solidified language as a civilizational and political issue, not just a cultural one. And it gave rise to the modern Dravidian movement, focusing heavily on social justice and anti-caste reforms. These historical fears are exactly why Tamil political symbols have been so fiercely guarded over the last 6 decades.
Okay, with that history in mind, let's jump into Section 4, Vijay's middle path strategy, and look at his calculated modern political debut.
So the real reason this oath ceremony sequence shocked political circles is because of the surprise factor. See, before entering politics, actor Vijay was widely known for championing anti-establishment themes, social justice, and Tamil causes in his massive blockbuster films. Because of that, everyone expected him to lean heavily into traditional Dravidian symbolism when he finally took the stage, but instead he totally flipped the script.
Now, to be fair, Vijay's camp did offer a defense. TVK supporters argue that there was no grand conspiracy here to insult Tamil pride. They point out that Vijay was simply adhering to early 2026 Home Ministry protocols, which actually mandate playing Vande Mataram in full before the national anthem. They claim he was just following union rules, plain and simple, without any negative intent.
And this brilliantly illustrates the strategic tightrope he's walking. If we think about the political landscape here, on one side you have the DMK dominating Dravidian identity politics with a strong regional focus. On the other side, the BJP dominates centralized nationalist politics. Actor Vijay and the TVK seem to be aiming right for the middle, attempting a synthesis by fusing Tamil pride with Indian nationalism.
When you break down the characteristics of this perceived strategy, it's really ambitious. Vijay is trying to project himself as a proud Tamil, but definitively rejecting the anti-nationalist label that sometimes gets thrown at regional parties. He's presenting a modern, reformist image, attempting to merge regional identity with national identity. And some observers even speculate he might be positioning himself for broader national influence down the line. It is a deliberate attempt to carve out a totally new political identity in a state heavily dominated by regionalism.
But, as we know, making waves always brings a countercurrent. Let's look at Section 5, the road ahead.
Unsurprisingly, the established political powers didn't just sit back and watch. The DMK quickly seized the opportunity to protect their ideological turf. They aggressively accused Vijay of weakening sacred Tamil symbols and softening his party's stance towards central nationalism. It's classic politics, right? Your opponent's controversy instantly becomes your campaign material.
Facing all this heat, Vijay's party had to do some rapid damage control. They executed a strategic backtrack to avoid alienating crucial Tamil identity voters right at the very beginning of his political tenure. They quickly clarified there was zero negative intent, emphasized the protocol was a first-time occurrence, and crucially, they promised that at all future government functions, the Tamil state song would proudly be played first.
So the crucial takeaway is this. Ultimately, this controversy has absolutely nothing to do with which song sounds better. It's like a giant puzzle piece in a much larger picture. Symbols are the battlefield for ideology. This whole event was fundamentally a micro-battle for the future direction of Tamil Nadu's political identity.
Which leaves us with a really provocative question to ponder. Will actor Vijay's calculated middle path successfully redefine Tamil Nadu's politics? Or will the deeply rooted, historically tested Dravidian ideology hold its ground? It's going to be absolutely fascinating to see how this political experiment unfolds. Keep questioning the strategy behind the headlines, and thanks for exploring this with us today.